Hey guys, this is Jeff on the Entrefied podcast. If you're new to Entrefied means entering into your success. What we do is we interview guests on our show. We have business owners and we have people that are basically growing businesses for other people. We have book authors. We have several different people on the show. We also have personal podcasts, and that's what this is about tonight. But what we look for is those added values that will add value to your life, personally and professionally. So with that said, Entrefied means entering into your success. I would encourage you to get our podcast notes on this because you can review what we're talking about here to have a lot of questions in here that you can answer and do the homework here too. It may sound strange to do homework on this, but these points, if you start applying these to your life, they will change your life. They will help you with your vision, whether it's personal or professional. So I encourage you to look in the description if you're watching the YouTube videos, and you can get the podcast notes. You can go to our website as well, entrefied.com, and you can get the podcast notes there as well. But right now, I want to talk to you about training your brain. You know, one of the things that we argue with ourselves all the time about is whether we need to do something. And that comes down to the discipline that we have of whether we do it or not. If you're new, like I said, to Entrefied, we have a workbook we call PAR, which is Plan, Action, and Repeat. It has a morning routine, excuse me, guys, and what in the morning routine, it talks about writing down your list for the day. It also talks about questions that will help you identify what you really want out of life. But during this morning routine, it'll talk about writing those things down. And that's what I want to talk about with you just for a moment. When you write those down, if you're using our workbook, and I encourage you, if you hadn't already got that, to get it. But when you write those things down, are they concrete or are they just something that you just think you're going to do today? See, that's what we need to get to the point where we're not wishy-washy with our day. You know, a lot of us just put down some, well, we'll just see what happens. When certain people put it in their calendar or put it down on paper, that's what they're trying to do today. And when their mind comes and says, hey, you don't feel like this, or you can do that tomorrow, or, you know, I don't know, not right now. You know, I got a lot of stuff going on. When you start listening to that, it's when you get in trouble a lot of times. A lot of people, when they put it down, that's concrete. That's what they're going to do. Now, I'm not saying they don't never change their mind, but what I am saying for the most part, when they put it down, that's what they're going to do. And that's what I want to talk to you about is training your brain. That may sound strange to say it like that, but you have to learn to tell yourself what to expect. And then you expect no back talk from it. So when it comes up, when you question yourself, you have to know how to shut that down. So when you've identified in the day what you want, you wrote it down, you need to learn to stick to it. And that's what like I said, that's what I want to talk about today, of how we can get to that point of making ourselves believe that, hey, this is what we're going to do. When your brain comes to you and says, hey, I don't feel like doing this today, what you can say is, nope, I've already decided. Be sure to tell yourself something back with a positive spin, like, when I go to the gym, I'm going to feel energetic. I'm going to feel accomplished. I'm going to feel better. It's almost like we test ourselves to see if we're real or not. I know that kind of sounds strange because it's your own mind, right? But how many times have you thought, well, I need to go exercise, but I'll do that tomorrow? Or, you know, I need to eat less, but, you know, I really like that cheeseburger. I'd like to have another one of those little cheeseburgers. Or, you know, it could be a lot of things. It could be the French fries. I'm not against either one of those guys because I have both of them. But when we start making goals that we're not serious about, you will be tested. You will be tested whether you're real or not. And we have those negative conversations with ourselves. And that's what I want to talk about. Every day, when you write down your list of what you want to do today, then it ought to be something that you've decided that you want to do. We have those negative conversations with ourselves, and they're lying to us. We have to learn to call bull. We need to start adding positive to the arguments in our head. So what's one thing that you can do? I've already mentioned it. When you decide that that's what you want to do, you say, no, I've already decided. I mean, it could just be an affirmation. No, already decided. Decided. I mean, you could just think that in your mind. But a lot of times what you can also do is tell the reasons that you should do it. Like, no, you don't need to go to the gym today. No, I've already decided I'm doing that. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel more accomplished. It's not a feeling thing. It's an action thing. These are some of the things that you can learn to tell yourself. But we have to get to the point that we're recognizing what we're telling ourselves. We're lying to ourselves. You know, a lot of people say, well, no, I'm not lying to myself. Yeah, probably you are. If you're like the majority of people, you are. Because we tell ourselves that, oh, well, we can do that tomorrow. We don't really need to do that today. And it's like we make excuses. So these are a couple things that you can do. I want to move on, though. Then tell yourself something positive. Like I said, train your brain to listen to you. It's discipline. It does require practice. Let's move a little further into this and beyond what I'm talking about here. When you write down your list in the morning, and as you should, that needs to be something you're serious about. It don't need to be something you enter into casually. I would encourage you to put an estimated time by the things that you need to get done. When you tell yourself something positive, maybe what you can say is look, it's not about feeling, it's about action. Because we'll say, well, I don't feel like it. It's about action. I've already wrote this down. I've already decided. So I want to ask you something. This is one of the questions I want to ask you here. So what I want to ask you, what have you been putting off? What are some of the flaws that you have that you keep repeating the same pattern? When you say, listen, I just don't have time today. What's some of the things that you've been telling yourself? Start to recognize those things in your life where you can start to, once you identify it, you can try to work toward fixing the problem. So what is it that you're actually telling yourself? You know, so when you identify it, you look at it and say, hey, I think there's something I can change about that. But sometimes we don't even realize some of the lies that we're telling ourselves. You got to first identify it first. You can take a lot of positive credit for the good things you've done in your life, but you need to look at things that you need to become more accountable to. If it's always somebody else's fault in your life, there's probably some truth that it's some of your fault too. Could be, right? What are those things that you're lying to yourself about? What are those things that you need to address? That's what I wanted to mention here. I know this is a deep well, guys. What are those things that you need to start being more accountable for yourself on? Second question, what is some of the things you need to change your opinion on and take action on immediately? One of the things a lot of times is, I can do that later. Well, yeah, you can probably do a lot of things later, but you can most all the time say that. We need to change our opinion about later. Instead of later, maybe it needs to be now. What's the list of things that you start out in your day that you're serious about? What do you need to change your opinion on? What's the lies you've been telling yourself? These are some of the questions I wanted to ask you. One more question. How much better would your life be if you consistently did what I'm talking about today? If you decided, I'm going to write a list down, I've identified what I'm doing, and I have decided to do what I've said I'm going to do by writing it down. And when this comes up, I'm going to say I've decided. And I'm going to say, this is the reason I'm doing this right now, the specific thing that you need to be doing. Keep having something come up on my screen that says I'm logged out here. Anyway, I clicked out of that. So if you guys see that, maybe in the video, but I'll have to address that later. But I want to talk to you guys. If you're listening to the podcast right now, you're not seeing any of that, obviously. But I've got I'm making a YouTube video here and I'm putting it up, and I keep having this pop up here to log into the back end where I write my notes here. So I hope you guys overlook that. But I want you to understand that, guys, that we're telling ourselves a lot of bull sometimes. And I want to talk to you briefly about something else. I want to talk to you about the difference in finding success and being a success. Let me say that again. I kind of stumbled at that. I want to talk to you about the difference in finding success and being a success. You will see people that may find a level of success for one reason or the other. Some deserve, some not. But it's the way it is sometimes. They have found a level of success. You may have found a level of success yourself. Then you'll find people that are a success, regardless of whether you find them. Anything you put them in, they're hard workers. They get stuff done. They've got it together. They are a successful type of person. I want to encourage you to start living a daily success, not finding success, but actually being a success every day. Now, this may sound strange to you, but sometimes specific goals of success take a long time to get there. Daily success can be different. You can start enjoying daily success by doing some of the things that I've already told you, which is writing down a list and being real with yourself. You will feel more accomplished if you stop lying to yourself and you hold yourself accountable. That's something you can do right off the bat. And like I said, get our PAR program too. What would make you a daily success every day? Please think about that for a minute. What could you have done today to be more successful? I want you to think about this, because really this is what it comes down to, is how this applies to you. What could you have done today to be a better success today? What is that for you? Maybe one thing, could be several. I'm talking about your definition here. I'm not talking about your bosses or your friends or your wives or your husbands. I'm talking about you, how you feel about yourself. What could you have done to be more successful in your own opinion? Okay, here's the homework, guys. So I want to encourage you to get the podcast notes where you can go over all this stuff. I want you to write that down, and you can go over a lot of this stuff. But now tomorrow, before it gets here, I want you to write out what you will have to do tomorrow to succeed to the level that you want to in your own definition. You've already thought about today. Well, what is tomorrow for you? What will you have to do tomorrow to be a success? Now, I want to throw something on you here. There's a lot of things. You can get our notes and go back over some of this stuff that I possibly missed. I want you to ask yourself, how much better, and I mentioned this before, how much better will your life be if you can do this consistently? If you can say, look, this is what I define success as today. This is what I define success is tomorrow. You build your goals into that too, not just your daily list of things, which is what I also want you to do. Build your daily list into your success, but then start migrating into your goals, those mini goals that you have. Start building those into your day too. So at the end of the day, when you look at your day, and you should, and you ask yourself, what could I have done better to be a better success to myself? What could I have done to feel more fulfilled? Because that, in large part, will equal a lot more success than just somebody else's definition of success a lot of times. So what is success for you? Guys, I hope you've got something from this today. Get our podcast notes. I'll try to put that in the description. But you can get a lot of our podcast notes on our website. Go to www.entrefied.com. But check out our description if you're looking at the YouTube video. I'll try to put some a link to the podcast notes and those type of things. But look on our website if you don't see them there. Guys, appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.